everyone, welcome to your weekly quantum teaching. This week's video, we're actually going to be talking about the 7 essential elements of quantum physics. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, you may know some of those topics are a bit more esoteric, and some of you guys who are actually studying or pursuing this sort of educational route around quantum physics might wonder, where is the mathematical piece to this? It does take an element of data and mathematics to be able to quantify aspects and measure aspects of these topics, because what science tries to do is basically put a earthly logical perspective to it. But I want to remind you all, especially if you're coming across this video, potentially you're on this journey of really understanding more about the esoteric spiritual world and how that links with sort of these concepts of everyday life. And so that's why in this video I wanted to touch more on the quantum physics aspect, because on the previous quantum teachings I focused on how quantum that is connected to the different esoteric elements such as dimensions, parallel realities, astral travel, timelines, which again are all things that may sound very woo-woo to the normal person that's out and about, right? But it's really something that has existed and has been extensively researched and studied, and where there's actually machines that are built to further understand such a creation. And although we have abilities to be able to do things like time travel, right, outside of space and time with our own intuition and the gifts that we were actually created with, every human being is created with, there's still an aspect of the earthly world that tries to connect with this very 3D aspect of proof, right? And science is all about predictability, right? It's probability. And so that's why we have to understand that that kind of mystery to science also connects like yin and yang to the mysteries of the esoteric world, where these things exist. People have had experiences, but also agencies have invested billions and trillions of dollars to actually study these esoteric concepts, because they've discovered somewhere along the way that there is more power to creation into this life that we're living. I want to kind of almost debunk and dispel any disconnection that these essential laws place on quantum physics. So first and foremost, we need to talk about the first law, which is about particles being waves and vice versa. If you play a voice memo, right, you record your voice, you're going to see waves on that voice memo, right? And so even if you play a song or you record a song, any type of recording device will show you like the, those sound lines. And I'm obviously not drawing them very well, but like this is essentially what that is. So those are waves, sound waves. And it has been proven that different sounds emit not only different frequencies, but frequencies that can be translated into almost physical matter, into particles, right? And so a lot of times when we hear about, the sound of the universe being 432 or 528 hertz, the things that are often coming with sound and these waves can essentially turn, I'm hearing the word atomize, okay? So really turn into this sort of a physical matter, okay? We're changing states of matter. They each go hand in hand, okay? So the first law here is particles are waves, and we're not going to dispel that because that makes sense. Every life object emits sound, even if it is silent, okay? Even if it does not have a sound, it emits a wave-like frequency, I should say, either through sound or through energy, okay? Through the auric field. Now, the second means quantum states are discrete. This is the way that it's coming through as, that the quantum states having discretion is really just the fluidity of matter upon the dimensional movement. So going from 3D to 5D will change aspects of your quantum state. You might start perceiving a different way. You might also, we can talk about the actual physical aspect of it. So no longer being physical, but now being sort of ethereal, the soul crossing over, consciousness traveling whenever you're in the dream state, however you guys want to take that. But this is what's coming through as a quantum state. There's many multiple layers as there's multiple dimensions, right? We all have different aspects of ourselves that we show to different people or the world. We are multidimensional, and therefore this goes with quantum states. Quantum states is the multidimensionality of all things being fluid. It is discrete, meaning that it can change at any point. It's not meant to be permanent, not meant to be one specific state of matter or state of being, right? A solid can become a liquid, can become a gas, a liquid can become a solid. We're going to go from solid, just as an example for you guys, to liquid to gas. So yeah, so hopefully that's a good imagery, you guys get it. But so The third is going to be the probability. Probability is all we ever know. Now, here's what's interesting about this. This is one of the essential elements that I want to debunk. Probability is all we ever know on the logic aspect of our human mind, right? When it comes to science, science can only provide probability or predictions based on the research and what facts are available. If you guys remember in science class learning like the theories, right? Like in order to create a probability or prediction, you would have to have an if-then statement, right? If this was this, then this can become this, right? A hypothesis, if you will. Also with our consciousness, sometimes some of us out there might perceive things in different ways based on our triggers and experiences, and so we can only go with probability. However, this is where it gets debunked with the missing piece about quantum physics here, quantum mechanics, is that it fails to link the understanding that probability is all we ever know in the 3D, and that's why we are being pushed to live in the present moment. But really, probability is something that doesn't quite exist to the full extent because fate is existing. There's aspects of our creation, of our life's journey that are fixed and that are written, that we are meant to go through, call it destiny. And it sounds super woo-woo, you know, and these videos are obviously meant for people who are a little bit into the journey now, but also for those of you who might come across who are new here, you know, we got to understand, right? Probability is something of the 3D world, but really there's fixed aspects of our experience and journey. And that's why you have people like me, psychics, mediums, intuitives, who come forward and are able to channel these specific aspects of one's journey. But some of us, at least I try to do this whenever I channel, is to let my client know if something is free will related. Okay, I see that this is a fate lesson, a lesson that you're going to have to go through, but I see that you have two options with which you can learn this lesson from. It feels like you might end up in this job to learn from this person, but it feels like you might end up in this job to learn from this person. Both are free will, but in reality, the decision is already made at another point in time. So that's why living in the present and being true to that, honoring that really surety of your journey, rather than creating a sort of a hypothesis around it, a probability around it, is what allows you to move forward in your best and highest version, right? We might not always be sure of what path to take or what decision to make. We can only go with our intuition, our gut, and where we're at in that moment. And quantum, you know, mechanics, in the essence of it all, in terms of creation and the energy world itself, is really inviting that use of intuition, not really staying in the ground and soil of probability, right? Because probability is definitely going to exist, and that's what we have to also be okay with and comfortable with. Like, expect the unexpected. It helps to relieve and also provide self-accountability and compassion for what you've chosen or what outcomes may have unfolded. Whether you expected it or not, life is a mystery, just like how when scientists say that science is a mystery, right? Sometimes. And so this is just what it is. We have to go with the probability, but trust that probability does not win when fate is always fixed anyway. Number 4 is measurement determines reality. We can't always quantify everything. And so while in the 3D world it makes sense, measurement does sort of determine reality in an aspect. It doesn't really determine as much as it can sort of organize aspects of reality, is how I would probably phrase that. But, you know, at the end of the day, quantum mechanics isn't just to do with the 3D physics aspect of creation. It's also about the, as I've said multiple times in this video, the upper dimensional esoteric experience. And so measurement, although it has some type of association with the physical reality, it isn't quite, I would say, the end-all be-all of determining reality. You cannot measure the space of an entire universe. Like, that's not quantifiable because it's infinite, it's limitless. Quantum correlations are non-local, so we can think of it as they're essentially not able to be put into a particular measurement or a particular box, right? Quantum correlations are the estimations of what we know based on probability, but we have to leave room for the rest of the measurement, for fate. Sorry, there's a really bad glare, so that's kind of why I'm not really holding it up as much, but hopefully you guys can see this. So quantum correlations, they're not local. You can't put it in a box, okay? You can't put aspects of quantum teachings into a box. We try to make it as logical and relatable as possible, but a lot of aspect of this work is not able to be localized into a particular place. You cannot measure an entire universe. There's estimations, I'm assuming, but you cannot measure an entire universe. It's infinite. That would be like trying to measure a universe. You cannot measure it. Number 6 is everything not forbidden is mandatory. So this one was also another interesting one. Getting that imagery of like dark and light, right? Like we obviously have to experience our shadows. We have to experience the other side of the coin. Pain, for example, loss, trauma, wounding, insert whatever sort of sadness experience you may have had. And so, you know, we need to experience that shadow aspect to understand how resilient we are, how strong we are, what we are capable of, but also how we may potentially help others on their journey with the same experience. Very interesting. A lot of people in the spiritual community talk a lot about AI technology. Some have this understanding or connection with how there is an AI creator out there who's trying to mimic our universe. I wouldn't put it to that much power, because here's the thing. When it comes to creation, when it comes to quantum mechanics, quantum energy, replicas of creation, not only the 3D, but also outside of the 3D, is forbidden, right? Outside of the you cannot replicate a universe. It doesn't matter how advanced in years of technology you are when there's one creator who is an omnipotent, who created everything, including the AI, including the person who created the AI. And so there's certain aspects of creation that are forbidden. For example, when there's something that's fixed, this is coming through as well, when there's something that's fixed in fate, it's fixed, it's written. No amount of esoteric advancement, evolutionary advancement of extraterrestrials, of technology can alter that. It is forbidden. And so what is forbidden is not able to be experienced or expressed or tried or tested, right? Free will not have an aspect in that, right? Emphasis on the tried and tested. So everything that is not forbidden is mandatory, meaning if it's something that is essentially not going to alter fate, someone's destiny, someone's divine will, someone's divine rights, time, creation, then it has likelihood of being experienced or expressed, even if that's part of the shadow side. Really, where we get tricky here is about messing with the universal creation laws, or trying to challenge that when that's forbidden. Like, it's not going to work because there is a difference in energy potency power here. So that's really what's coming through for me. Quantum physics is not magic. That is the last point. And I do want to change that and challenge that and say quantum physics, I'm going to say quantum specifically, is magic, because it truly is. Okay, there's a bridge between creation and science that we need to acknowledge, and it has been proven time and time again. We have to step away from that fear of judgment and that fear of thinking that things that are so locked into the Western world and into science are not able to be linked to the unquantifiable. People that are in positions of power are aware of this, and they've invested lots of money within governments, within private agencies, okay, to intelligence agencies, innovation agencies, to study this, to understand this. Otherwise, why would Elon Musk have created the Neuralink, a sort of chip to be inserted in the brain to not only help diseases, as they say, but to truly study the brain and the way that thoughts formulate, dreams formulate, consciousness unfolds. Quantum physics is magic. It really is. It truly is at the core of its creation, okay? Because this is what connects it all, right? All of these puzzle pieces come together to create, I'm seeing the imagery of a Rubik's Cube here, our journey, our experience. And so when we try to understand all of these concepts, whether it be on the paper level of writing out the equations and actually quantifying and measuring different aspects of quantum physics and quantum mechanics to provide some type of thesis or hypothesis for someone out there, we can also similarly take these points and connect it to the laws and understanding that we know about creation. And when you kind of put that together, you say, wow, now I see the 3D aspect, which is able to be quantified in some shape or form. It is able to be put down in measurement in some shape or form, but I also see the 4D, 5D, etc., higher dimensional aspect of this, that there is a linkage, because why would it have been studied for so long? Invite the awareness that there's a lot more that's coming to the table at the forefront of our experience on Earth right now. It's being discussed more. It's not as taboo as it used to be, and we will be encouraged to have these discussions more openly, these deeper discussions about the way that creation is linked and how we have an aspect and a part in that as well. So I hope this video resonated. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, collective, go and grow.